Hello, and welcome to this video educational. My name is Rashid Mahmood. As you start to create in Photoshop, it is critical you're acquainted with the concept Photoshop uses. To create pics, it is essential, early on, that you are conscious, so that you can create the proper paintings to the right specification. This can be an intricate idea to recognize at the start. However, while you do, you'll be all of the extra assured. The usage of Photoshop. On this educational, I am going to discuss image length, picture information size, measurement and determination. So, to start, I'm going to dive proper in and do a short demonstration, which you can follow at the side of. So allows first open up an image to work with. This photograph may be observed inside the Advent folder, in the Undertaking folder. Now, you may download the challenge folder for free. The download link is within the description. So, with the challenge folder open, click Introduction. Open the ISDR folder and open the 01 photo example report inner. And you ought to have something that seems like this. Now, in Photoshop, we are able to quick pick out the picture, length, measurement, and backbone of an picture by means of developing to the top menu, selecting image. Then scroll down and click on photo size. Upon click, up will pop a menu. This can provide us the approximate photograph size, and backbone of the picture. So, right here at the top, it states the photograph fact size, and we can see here this is 399 megabytes. Next, weave the dimensions of the image, this being 1181 by way of 1181 pixels. Beneath this, weave the width and top. If I click on the tab to the proper, and click on centimeters, we can see the bodily picture length is thus centimeters by thus centimeters. Now, if I click on the tab at the right again, and pick out pixels, notice the values are the same as above. Now here we've got the option to kind in new values. Should we want to alternate the photograph size or dimension? Now, under this, we've got the decision of the image. Presently, that is 300 dpi, and, once more, we are able to kind in a brand new cost and exchange this if we wish. So, at a look, we are able to see the photo record size, the bodily photograph size, measurement and resolution of this photo. As you begin to use Photoshop, you'll notice yourself coming into this menu frequently to test and confirm what length you are operating to, or maybe exchange the image length and measurement. If you wish to trade the photo size and size, all you have to do is type inside the new fee, and it's going to alternate. As an instance, if I change this image from 300 dpi all the way down to 72, Photoshop will try to scale back the picture. You can now see that, in the dimensions above, it's telling me if I press OK, this picture will exchange from the present day size to this new length of 283 through 283 pixels. Also, Photoshop is pointing out that the photograph information, murmurs, will cross from 3.99 megs to 234 kilobytes. Now, if I exchange the cost to the proper to centimeters, you may see that it nonetheless stays technically the same physical length as before, 10 centimeters by way of 10 centimeters. So I'll click this back to pixels, but this time, exchange the width and height again to 181 by using 1181 pixels. Now, note that the decision has remained 72, and the envisioned photograph size will move lower back to 3.99 megabytes. So, DPI did not affect the physical picture length there. So I will press cancel to close. This time, I will press the shortcut for photograph size, Command, Alt and that I, with the width and top values set to pixels to the proper. This time I will kind 500 in every container, and press good enough. Upon click, the photo will decrease in length. So by way of coming to the pinnacle menu, deciding on photo, scrolling down and clicking photo length, we are able to check and trade the dimensions of an picture. Or we are able to press the shortcut key, Command, Alt and that I. Great. Now it's critical to mention that, while dealing with those principles, all of it relies upon on what you are growing, and what you're creating for. Whilst running in Photoshop, it is able to help to think in mindsets, running for print, and operating for digital. In relation to designing for print, you'll need to pay close interest to physical photograph length and backbone. In terms of designing for screen, you only have to pay near attention to size. So, what's photograph length, dimension and determination? With regards to print, to help speak this, you may need to open a record I have organized particularly for this academic. So, lower back inside the mission folder, open the 02 example record inner, and also you have to have something that looks like this. So it's going to assist to come to be acquainted with those 4 terminologies. We are able to see them up here, to the left in this key. And each one has its own color that's represented below. So we've photograph length, photograph statistics size, and resolution. So, photo length is the bodily size of an photograph. Let's say this because the physical size it might be on your hand in case you printed it out. In Photoshop, this is measured in millimeters, centimeters and inches, values that exist in actual existence. If we take a look at the diagram, right here we will see that each of these photos are, indeed, 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. They may be all the same physical size. Now, every centimeter is marked out with a gray line throughout the left and back side. Observe, the gap that exists among every line receives large on every instance closer to the proper. Now, maintain this in thoughts. Photograph statistics size is the file length to your PC difficult force. If we look carefully we will see, not like with image length. The photo data length varies on every instance. Dimension is the image length in your laptop screen. In Photoshop, that is also measured in millimeters, centimeters and inches, however additionally, importantly, pixels. If we appearance cautiously on the diagram under, we can see the pixel dimensions range on each instance, getting large to the right. Subsequent, we've resolution, that is the pixel density contained internal in picture. We discovered inside the previous video that raster pictures are made from individual pixels. Resolution is always measured and noted in dpi, dots per inch. This is the range of pixels which can be contained in every inch of an photo. So, dpi is the amount of pixels that are squeezed into a bodily photo size, that picture which you preserve to your hand. If we have a look at the diagram underneath, we will see the various dpi observed to every example. The larger the dpi, the larger the pixel size. Now, if you have been to print every this kind of snapshots, one by one to their local dpi, they could all pop out the identical 10 centimeters by means of 10 centimeters. So, if that is real, then why do they vary in size right here visually, at the display? Now, in case you appearance very intently, we are able to see every picture has a exclusive dpi. It's the dpi, the resolution, with a view to determine the pixel density. The larger the pixel density, the greater pixels will make up an image. As a consequence, the larger the pixel dimensions will be. So, the first instance on the A-Ways left is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. This has a dpi of 72, which makes the pixel dimension 284 via 284 pixels. Now, due to the fact the dpi is handest 72, there will not be as many pixels in each centimeter that makes up the physical photograph size. The second one example is likewise thus with the aid of 10 centimeters. This has a dpi of 150, over double the preceding example. This makes the pixel dimension 591 by 591 pixels. Now, due to the fact the dpi is 150, there might be extra pixels in every centimeter that makes up the physical image length. This is why the gap among my centimeter traces are large here, compared to the first instance. So the last example is also thus through 10 centimeters. However, this has a dpi of 300, which makes the pixel dimension 1181 via 1181 pixels. Now, because the dpi is 300, there could be loads extra pixels in every centimeter that makes up the physical picture length. So, despite the fact that the physical photograph length for every example is the identical, the 300 dpi instance incorporates over 3 times greater pixels inside than the first example at simplest 72 dpi. Now, what you will find is, if you printed some of these pics of the photograph at 300 dpi will be better high quality. And this is because there are virtually more pixels making up the photograph. The picture at 300 dpi has a more pixel density than the photo at 72, making an allowance for more detail. So the picture, in concept, is the identical length, but the 300 dpi has greater pixels in the photograph, taking into consideration more detail. A great example of this is with new generations of virtual cameras. Modern day cameras these days have light capturing sensors that will let you capture pictures with multiple megapixels, which enable them to seize a lot of element. The pics produced will have the identical image scale and bodily size as traditional images, normally 6 by way of 4. However, may have huge pixel densities, bearing in mind immense element. This allows you to print out mega sharp, mega large, and distinct pics. Now, it's important to say that dpi and dimension additionally influences the image statistics size of an photo. The more pixels you have on your image, the greater statistics will be contained within the photograph report. And we are able to see there, the picture fact sizes are varying, getting larger, to the right. So we will see a clean document size distinction there, as greater pixels are contained in picture. So, hold in thoughts, the difference here between photo length, measurement and determination for print. Now, if you are growing work for print, you may ought to work to a resolution of at the least 300 dpi. Print requires 300 dpi because, basically, this is the choicest dpi our eyes can locate. Something above this would be a moderate. So we have to send our files to print, at a maximum of 300 dpi. In case you're getting ready paintings for magazines or leaflets, you'll be operating to the bodily picture length of around A5, and so forth, or to a custom size in millimeters, centimeters and inches. Now, for print, you may paintings to a decreased dpi than 300. But what you'll find is your final outcome may not be as sharp or as clean as it'd be in case you have been getting ready your work at 300 dpi. So now we come to digital. To help communicate this, we can need to open any other report I've prepared for this academic. So, returned inside the challenge folder, this time open the 03 digital example report internal, and you need to have something that looks like this. Now, while growing artwork and photos for display screen based totally media, it's mild simply irrelevant which decision you work to. While developing media for virtual, it is all approximately the size. In case you're creating graphics for websites, video, or sell gadgets, you may ought to work to a precise pixel measurement. In this situation, I've 3 photos. Each of those are set on the equal measurement, however have extraordinary DPIs. We can see right here that the DPI does now not have an effect on the final results of the visual photo screen length. When you consider that is for screen and raster images, our product of pixels, it's most effective the measurement of the pixels, so that it will determine the image length final results on the display.